Hey folks, welcome back to the Portable Gamer, and welcome to rFactor 2. And I can't say welcome back to rFactor 2 because this is the first time we've done it on the channel. So we are in an SLS AMG GT3, and we're at Toban, California, Toban Raceway Park. Up in the top corner here, top left corner, you can see an outline of the track. It looks like a really long kind of endurance car racing track, but it's really like 2.5 miles. It's a ton of first and second gear turns. So kind of an interesting track. We'll tell you a little bit more about that as we get going. I'm going to do a quick setup on the car, and then we'll hop in and take a look at the competition. So we're doing 15 laps, and the 15 laps that we're doing, let's go 17 in case we run a little hot, and we're going to sit for one pit stop that we're not going to need. But if we have to pit for, I doubt we'll have to pit for tires or anything else, but if we did, let's just throw a splash of fuel in there as well. A little bit of radiator tape, a little bit of wing on the back, because like I said, it is all tight turns on this track. A little bit of roll bar, front and rear. Chassis is good, nothing I can adjust there anyway. And we're going to go one softer for compound, and we're going to bump down the pressure. Front and rear. Tape the brake ducts. And I think we're good to go. Ready? Here we go. Competition is the typical GT3 crowd, and this is actually a GT3 car pack that I bought for this game. And it's got the Mercedes that I'm in. It's also got a Radical, I want to say an Audi R8, Callaway, maybe a BMW Z4. It's got a McLaren. So just the typical crew of GT3 race cars that everybody in the world is racing right now. I mean in real life, not in SimWorld. Although in SimWorld too. So yeah, this track is, you'll see when it gets dark, this track has to me a very authentic California grassroots racetrack feel to it. And one thing that really helps with that is the lighting, because we'll see when we go past them. These are just like wooden poles with old school yellow like street lights on them, like the kind that you used to be able to get those back in the 50s and 60s, which is before my time, incidentally. But back in the 50s and 60s, you could get those from your power company. Like if you owned a farm, you could get a street light for like $5 a month, and they'd come out and install it, and then they just tack it on your bill every month. So there's something very rural and sort of authentic and country about that. That's the kind of lighting that you would see on a track like this. There'd be no, offset aluminum pole with an LED cluster on it. That's for a big, expensive European track. This is like a little mom and pop track in California, and that sort of authenticity for me really helps a game come alive. So I love it. It's not quite tight enough to be a go-kart track. I mean, there's no 2.5 mile go-kart track, but it's a tight little track. Maybe a little too tight for GT3 racing. I doubt, if this was a real track, I doubt you would ever see GT3 cars racing on it. But we're sure racing on it today. I don't know what to tell you about this game. It's a good game. It's a keeper for sure. It took a minute to get the graphics adjusted, I have to say. I went high, not ultra, on everything, like always. And what I found was my frame rate was really taking a beating, particularly when there were a lot of cars bunched together. Particularly when there were a lot of cars bunched together, and also we'll get dynamic lighting at night. And we're going 15 laps, but I have the speed cranked up to 48x. So essentially we're running 2-minute laps. 15 of them is 30 minutes, half an hour, and then you X the speed to 48. And that'll give us a full day-night cycle in 30 minutes. So we will race at night. And you can make it rain. You know you can make it rain. but I have the rain turned off. We're not going to mess with that. So as I was sort of getting to know the game and experimenting a little bit, I realized my frame rate was really tanking. And some of the graphics settings, they use the, I don't know, nomenclature, whatever you want to call it. They don't say ultra, they say full. So it's low, medium, high, full. And I thought, full? I like full. And I guess high is their equivalent to ultra. Or full is their equivalent to ultra. So I had too many things on ultra that should have been on high. And when I backed those down, I found I wasn't getting that drop off. So we're holding between 50 and 60 FPS right now. We'll see if that holds when the lights come on, because it is dynamic lighting, and it's good dynamic lighting.
155.22.
It's good dynamic lighting. And graphics are, well, you can see them. You know, you can make your own assessment on what you think of the graphics. I like them. I feel like well, I say we. I do that a lot, and I need to correct myself. Me. I think for me, you know, the sort of the AI does block, but it does it in a predictable and what I would say is an appropriate kind of way. But it is, I assume it's as frustrating when somebody blocks you in an AI context as it is when somebody blocks you in real life. Like, I can pass you, but you're not letting me pass you. Like, I've got the speed to pass you, you're just jamming me. So again, if we're looking for that immersive quality, if I stop thinking of it as this AI is blocking me and think of it more like the driver of this car is blocking me, and that seemed excessive. We'll keep rolling, but that certainly seemed on the replay like a smack. Well, this isn't going to be much fun because we're going to have to drive by ourselves in a broken car now, but right, so lights are on. And let me get my composure back here. Okay. I had to remember where we were on the track too. So yeah, the AI that I was just talking about, how good it is good. It does block. It does ram. And I will look on the replay, but that's, you know, is that a flaw? Is that intentional? Is it both?
4.78.
You know, is it something that the game developers put in intentionally to replicate real racing and it makes the game suck? Or is it something the game developers put in? Wow, it gets dark fast at Toban. Like, it's just dark all of a sudden. You see what I'm saying? Is that an authentic part of real racing that they've managed to capture, or is that just some bull S they threw in and it makes the game suck? I don't know. But I know, like right now, the driver's skill, AI skill is on 80, aggression is on 50, and that sucks, you know. Because now we're in a 15-lap race, we're going to spend 2 laps getting caught up to the pack to still be in 20th place with a broken car. So I don't know, and it's one of those things where, yeah, I realize an argument is, well, you know, only pass when you have enough clearance that you can not only make the pass but then get clear of the car so that they can't tap you. And it's like, well, I have to brake. You know, I need to brake for corners, I need to brake for turns, and when I do, traffic bunches up behind me. You know, you get the train. And we did, as it got dark, we did drop from 50 to 60 FPS to like 40 to 50. So let's see how we do and how we hold when we get caught up to these cars. So
The lap was 147.76.
yeah, the AI is challenging, but it's challenging in all sims for different reasons. So I was talking earlier about graphics and moment. Yeah, we really, I don't know if it's night, I don't know if it's all the cars, but we're, even with the graphics settings turned down, when we get near the cars, we're dropping into the 30s now for FPS. So graphics wise, I sort of measure everything against Project Cars. I feel like Project Cars 2. I feel like Project Cars 2 is kind of the benchmark for me anyway. And I have found a lot of tricks and tweaks to get Assetto Corsa up to a level that I would say is absolutely consistent with Project Cars 2. I've managed to make Assetto Corsa really, it doesn't look bad out of the box. Wow, this FPS it's so laggy right now, it's actually making it hard to drive the car. Because my input is not inputting. It's, you know what I mean? Like you do something and then it doesn't reflect itself in the render for a second or two. All right.
154.87.
We just keep trying to fight our way up front. Right. So I'm happy with the Assetto Corsa now. I wasn't unhappy with it before, but I'm super pleased with it now that I have some of the post-processing adjusted and I have that other weather pack. Fantastic. This game, I would say, is probably at the level of from in my opinion, I would say that this game is where Assetto Corsa is before you do that graphics tweak with Reshade and SweetFX and GBW Suite and some other things. So it's not bad. It's definitely not bad. Nice HDR, nice haloing on the lights. But it's a little, you know, I don't want to have to potato the graphics. But it's particularly frustrating when there's a time when you're at 60 FPS and it's like, oh sweet, I found my settings, and then something happens and they drop off to 30 where they are right now. So I don't know if it's all the cars. I don't know if it's the lights, because it's some pretty good dynamic lighting. Hard to say. But graphics, yeah, works for me. Sound works for me. Great sound palette. A lot of really complex overlapping sounds in the car. It's not just the engine. You can hear the intake.
157.73.
You can hear the intake. You can hear the valve train. You can hear the transmission. And the physics are, I guess we should get to that too, because that's the whole point of a race sim. The physics, I think, are fantastic. Potentially the best of any race sim that I've played. This guy, I just need to get a pass on this guy and stick it and get away from him, because I feel like he hates me. Right. Okay. Yep. The blocking is real. And it's... Okay, we won't talk anymore about the blocking. So, yeah, the physics are amazing. The car is... It feels good. It feels real. And it's got... You know, it's a tight track. So the car, I have to say, it never really feels planted. I feel like we're never really going fast enough for the downforce to kick in and really kind of spike the car and make it feel really solid and planted. We're always kind of ice skating a little bit, but I would say on a track like this, that would be completely appropriate. There would be nothing. If I was driving this track in real life, I would have no problem with a car that felt like it was always about to come unglued, because it's a tight little low speed first and second gear track. The handling is really predictable. The car
155.74.
the car brakes really predictably. It doesn't brakes BREAKS. Not braking, I mean the other way. Like when it cuts loose on you, it does so very predictably. It doesn't just go. It starts to, you can feel it start to haze, and then it goes. And that's a nice, in a sim, that's a nice feeling where you get some predictability and you can push the car and not worry that it's going to cut loose on you sort of randomly, that it's going to give you a little warning before it lets go. So yeah, all in all, I'd say it's a keeper. Now there's something about this game that's a little bit weird, or maybe it's not weird at all. Maybe it just comes down to licensing. There's some mod content for it. There's some DLC content for it. But there's not a ton of tracks in the game or available for it that I can find. And there's not a ton of cars. And there's some good licensed cars, like this GT3 pack is fantastic, and it's all, it's licensed cars, so they know how to get a license and contact a manufacturer or whatever. But there's not a ton of cars, and there are some cars that are, obviously meant to represent other cars. There's I want to say a clone of like the 917, but it's not marked as Porsche. It's called something else. There are some unlicensed F1 cars.
That was a 158.64.
That was very strange. Just got a ton of brake pull right there. So I don't know. I haven't really gotten into the damage modeling enough to say like how well the car models damage. Is it just overall, call it overall damage, and the car just drives slower? Or is it specific damage where, it's going to pull a certain direction like it just did? Or, if there's aerodynamic damage on the front right, is it going to pull to the right? Or whatever. You know what I'm saying. Yeah. And I mean, in a way, like what happened right there. In a way, that's fair, because I bump cars. And I don't mean to. And I've got the damage turned on, so I'm always trying to avoid contact with cars. But I do bump cars. And it's one of those things where, you can't get all hot about the AI bumping you when you bump the AI. Fair's fair. But it is annoying, to say the least. Particularly, like right there. I mean, I'm definitely on the line. We're not sharing it. And to be sort of on the very edge of sliding out anyway, and to get tapped. Trying to pit me, buddy? You trying to pit maneuver me? Right. Having that spin earlier, I don't know how well we're going to do here. What kind of time we can make up. I'll do my best to try to get up front.
156.68.
Around the outside. Not necessarily what I would want to do, but we did it. Yeah, the car's really pulling under braking. Right, so it goes. What else? I don't know. and this is something else that is kind of challenging for me to, I don't know, work with, deal with. I don't know if the AI takes damage. I don't know if they pit. I don't know if they run out of fuel. I don't know if their tires wear out. It seems like a no-brainer, right? And it seems like, and again, this is from my, oh, brakes are going away. Or tires are. I don't know. There's a menu to look, but I can't get my thumb to it without wrecking the car or getting passed by like 5 cars. Ask me how I know. Because every time I try to get to the menu, we get passed by like 5 cars. It seems like it would be easy enough to code something like that in, right? That the AI tires go away, that the AI has to pit, that, that the AI runs out of fuel, whatever. Seems like it would be easy enough to code that in. I feel like some sims have it and some don't. So I don't know whether they intentionally leave it out. I don't know whether maybe it's harder to code than I think it is. I don't know. None of this happens when I'm not recording. So again, I attribute it to my capture software, but it's not just in the replay that's happening. That's happening like in real time in the game, and it really messes up my driving. But whatever. What else? So graphics, sound, AI, content, cars and tracks. Yeah, I think that's it. I mean, overall, it's a keeper. It's a cool game. I don't regret buying it, and I will play it. But this is my ongoing search for the most realistic race sim, and I came across this. And I'm sure you've been on the same journey yourself, going back to Gran Turismo. Well, going back before that to Test Drive and Need for Speed and some games that, in hindsight, I mean, at the time they seemed like driving sims and race sims, but when we look back on them, they're just kids games, arcade games. But then Gran Turismo came out and kind of changed everything. And looking back on that, we realize also not a sim, fake physics, and really it just had real cars. And there were sims before that I say sim, you know what I mean, games. There were sims and games before that had real cars, but the way that they were exotics, and the way that Gran Turismo was set up with like cars that you might actually own in real life, Datsuns and Hondas and Toyotas and stuff, it really, I think, made the game seem very real. Like, oh, I can drive my car. And the whole boy racer, the whole boy racer craze was just kind of starting then. Tuner cars and JDM and that whole scene. So Gran Turismo, it's not a bad game. To this day, it's not a bad game. But looking back on the versions of it from the late 90s, it's pretty hokey. But it was what we had, and then Forza came out, and now that's, worlds collide, because it's like you got a PlayStation and you got an Xbox. Pick one. So it's almost like Ford and Chevy when you get into the whole platform wars, the whole console battle, console debate, whatever. So very few people that I know were running both. It was like you had one or the other, and whichever one you had, you said that was the best one. And I also know people that bought a console just so they could have one sim or the other. And that held for a while. And then, me personally, I found Project Cars 2, and I was just a pig in poop. I was so happy. And I would have stuck with that, just that one. Huh. This is one of those things. This is one of those things that, what just happened really sucks. But it's also certainly something that happens in racing. You know, so how do we just get back to our race? I want to restart. Cancel. How do we get back to our race? I don't want to exit. I don't want to restart. I don't want instant replay. I think I might be done. But you know what? I'm done anyway. 14 laps, P14, and I think we're 11 laps in. So I'm not going to make up 14 spaces in 11 laps after getting spun twice. Folks, this is rFactor 2. Let me know what you think of it. I like it. It's going to take a little getting used to, and it's going to take a little outsmarting the AI. But I like it. It's a cool game. It's a cool sim. Check it out on Steam. Thank you so much for stopping back to check out The Portable Gamer. Thanks for joining us for rFactor 2, and we will see you next time. Take care now.